Hello and welcome to my next talk on my YouTube channel, Emma Mental, Health and Wellness Practitioner. Today I want to have a quick summary of the digestive tract and the important factors to consider when I see somebody in my practice, or when I speak to my groups about digestive health or gut health, as it's also commonly referred to. Now, as far as our general well-being goes, digestive health is of utmost importance. In fact, I almost see it as part of the foundation that one should consider and rebalance and restore if you want to make any impact on someone's immune system health, on any inflammation, also on brain health. So the gut-brain connection, we know, is a common theme for so many people. If you're trying to treat depression, anxiety, if you want to prevent cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia, and if you want to get the body back into balance optimally, you need to consider digestive health. So healing and repairing the digestive tract is not just about taking probiotics when you are taking a course of antibiotics, for example. Taking care of digestive health is not about taking an antacid when you are experiencing a reflux or heartburn. There are 5 main factors to consider, and in the functional medicine model, we call this the 5R gut repair protocol. So the 5 R's stand for: the first one is remove, the second one is replace, the third one is reinoculate, then we look at repair as the 4th one, and the 5th factor, number 5, is rebalance. So just a quick look at what each of the R's stand for. So the first R, which is remove, is very much about removing things in the diet. For example, gluten-containing foods, bread, pasta, oats for many people, rye, and even barley. But also removing any other inflammatory foods. So in the inflammatory group, I often think of the inflammatory oils that are so common in the Western diet: the canola oil, the sunflower oil, the margarine that so many people still use. So getting rid of the foods that we know commonly cause inflammation. And then for some individuals, it would also mean eliminating something like dairy. So if you're somebody with a dairy sensitivity and you find that you have a lot of mucus, getting chronic sinusitis, really struggling to restore digestive health, you might have to also eliminate dairy, at least initially, while we're repairing things. Some of the other remove factors to look at would be perhaps if there's candida, so fungal overgrowth, removing any parasites. Parasite cleansing programs are really critically important for most of us, especially if you have pets, especially if you've lived in areas where maybe you've had exposure, and for people who just can't seem to get things on track. So a regular deworming or a parasite cleanse might be important. Also, if there's any bacterial long-term chronic exposures that have caused an unbalance in the digestive tract. So the remove is about taking things out that will keep on aggravating your symptoms. And I just want to mention here that I very, very seldom, if ever, find anybody who doesn't need to consider the remove part. So if you are somebody with an inflammatory condition like rheumatoid arthritis, if you have IBS, constipation, or any kind of inflammatory digestive tract condition, if you get migraines, if you have eczema or any other chronic skin rash, if you have neurological symptoms, anything to do with the brain, then the remove part is absolutely important, and that's why it is the number one. The number two part, replace, is very much about restoring digestive health from the point of view of adding back digestive enzymes, hydrochloric acid, making sure that the stomach is acidic, has adequate acidity to digest the foods, especially the proteins. And there's a common misconception that for those who experience heartburn or reflux, that it's an overproduction of acid, which is actually the opposite. I do a home test with my clients to establish whether they make enough hydrochloric acid. And it's a very simple test that one can do. But to ensure that we help to restore the health of the digestive tract, we really want to make this quite a focused approach, especially initially, making sure that the food that you are eating is getting digested properly. So that's about replacing. For many people, their digestive health is just not optimal at all, and it might need actually every single one of these 5 approaches initially until things get back into balance. Then the third R is re-inoculate. Re-inoculate is about getting sufficient of the friendly bacteria and getting the microbiome back to an optimal state. The microbiome is really the different, I can call it colonies, or the different strains that should be predominant and in abundance in a healthy digestive tract. So for anybody who's having a very unhealthy overall lifestyle, a lot of stress, drinking a lot of coffee, maybe taking anti-inflammatories and cortisone, from babies, newborns to the elderly, if you've taken antibiotics or regularly taken antibiotics, if you've been on chemotherapy, or if you've had a very bad bout of like a food poisoning, you would have to replace and re-inoculate that digestive tract. I've also seen some research, and it's been noted that after some of the recent, what would I call it, injections in the last few years with a pandemic, that it causes a complete obliteration of bifidobacterium. And so I've seen people who suddenly having their digestive symptoms get worse. And we have to then look at making sure that we replace those. So for each client, it'll be very specific. It'll be an individualized approach. And of course, we're not going to treat a newborn the same that we treat a 50 or 60-year-old. But it would be sensible to really work with a practitioner who understands the digestive tract and what is important. Then the fourth R is for repair. Sometimes the lining of the digestive tract or the gut can become compromised because of long-term inflammation, because of long-term use of antibiotics and cortisone and all these other things compounded. So when that digestive tract lining has been compromised, some people refer to it as leaky gut, and it almost is literally that. We would want to use something like glutamine, for example, initially, to make sure that we get that gut lining back to optimal health. alongside maybe using other things, but glutamine as an additional supportive nutrient really works well while we are excluding the foods, while we doing the replacing of the digestive enzymes, and while we are re-inoculating. So the repair is also very much reliant on good nutrition, good nutrients, because if you're going to keep on having those gluten-containing foods, a lot of sugar and perhaps a lot of dairy, if there's already a lot of irritation, it will just continue to cause further compromise in the gut lining. And then the number 5 is the rebalance. Rebalance of the gut, the 5th R, is really paying attention to your lifestyle choices, to then look at how we can lessen the burden, how we can improve the choices that we make, how we can perhaps improve on our sleep, on our stress management, and how we can perhaps at that stage look at weaning people off some of the medications. It's not something that one just does without consideration and without a proper strategy in place, a real roadmap to look at what is needed and how it's going to be done. But because something like stress, and because something like inadequate sleep and other inflammation elsewhere, and the medications that people take can really continue to cause an imbalance in the gut, we would want to consider that. So for long-term well-being and to prevent things from going wrong and to prevent inflammation and to ensure that you start to clear up this weakness, which is fundamental in terms of your immune system, in terms of any autoimmune conditions, we would want to really put all of these 5 R's in place. I do see clients with chronic autoimmune conditions who have sort of accepted that there's nothing they can do but manage the condition, and I think there's nothing further from the truth. If we get to the gut to repair, and if we really focusing on including each one of these 5 R's, then the digestive tract can start to heal and repair. And of course, fasting, if it's done in a very particular way, really gives the gut a proper chance to restore and reboot as well. So for people with chronic digestive tract concerns and problems and symptoms, just a weekly 24-hour fast will already help to restore and regenerate. But don't just jump straight into that. Make sure that you get good advice. And I hope you found this helpful and supportive. And please subscribe to my channel, please share, and please comment below if there are any other points that you would like to know more about. So this whole idea of it's a gut feeling, people know there's something going on, but life just gets in the way and things feel really chaotic. If you can just come back to basics and start to focusing on addressing the gut health, that will already be a huge step in the right direction. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with another talk about one of the health and wellness topics. We'll choose something interesting for the weekend.